And when you threaten election workers, when you threaten to execute your quote-unquote former Joint Chief of Staff, Mr. Milley, when you mock Nancy Pelosi's husband being beaten by a hammer, I don't want to be lectured by Eric Trump. Who in the hell is Eric Trump saying Democrats? No.
It takes a very special skill set to be able to lie the way one needs to in order to still justify who and what Donald Trump is. There are several commentators who have that skill set. Reince Priebus, the former chair of the RNC, the Republican Party, is not one of those people with that skill set. As you can see in this video clip, as he is completely and utterly demolished by the truth that Donna Brazile was bringing. The first half of the clip is Donna Brazile as she lays out the case of why it is so disingenuous for Republicans to be attempting to call out Democrats over violent rhetoric, especially when Donald Trump is ahead of the ticket. That's the first half of this clip, and then we'll discuss. But the second half, I think, is even more revealing because Reince Priebus really does make it clear that unless you're willing to go out there and just lie unashamedly, like so many Republican commentators, you really do have a difficult time making any type of argument. Listen in.
I got to say something to you. I come out of the civil rights movement. Nonviolence was our touchstone. We made change by going out there protesting because we wanted to change our country to make sure that everybody was included. Democrats, and I've been a Democrat since I was 18 years old, although I voted once or twice for a Republican or two. There's no, and I mean this, there's no place for violent rhetoric. And when you threaten election workers, when you threaten to execute your quote-unquote former Joint Chief of Staff, Mr. Milley, when you mock Nancy Pelosi's husband being beaten by a hammer, I don't want to be lectured by Eric Trump. Who in the hell is Eric Trump saying Democrats? No, there's no place for violence of any kind. And this is something that needs to be said. I was there with you, brother, Mr. Priebus. I was there with you the day that Mr. Trump had that attempted assassination. The Biden campaign put down all of their ads just like they did during COVID. And they said, we are going to stop this. We need both political parties, both leaders. Do not go out there and blame Haitians. Do not go out there and blame immigrants and migrants. That is the rhetoric we hear every day. And if you cannot... You cannot say that Joe Biden won this election. Joe Biden won the election. Then you should not.
The show is not a monologue, Donna.
No, but it is
the rest of the matter is
the lies.
People have
it's the floodgate
opinions,
of lies.
Okay?
It's the floodgate of lies. And it's not only the floodgate of lies, but it's the floodgate of violent rhetoric. Without question, there is no doubt about it. Donald Trump is the kingpin of violent rhetoric in these United States of America. There's no doubt about it. His rhetoric is what led to January 6th. His rhetoric is what led to Charlottesville. His rhetoric is what fuels and drives the hate-filled bigotry that we see coming from MAGA every single day. His rhetoric includes talks of a violent day. Just a few weeks ago, he said America needs one violent day, one very rough hour is how he described it. He speaks in violent rhetoric, and his audience, his supporters, they accept it and interpret it as such. Political violence in this country overwhelmingly comes from right-wing nationalists. There's no question. FBI statistics bear that out. And so Donald Trump is feeding that and fueling that. Now, that's Donna Brazile's part. I want you to watch this next segment, this next section, as Reince Priebus tries to return fire, but he's unable to string together a coherent argument. And here's why. He understands in his heart and in his gut that Donna Brazile is absolutely right, but he has to say something because if he doesn't, one, he's going to get lambasted by the very person he has been put on ABC to protect, Donald Trump. He knows this, and so he has to come up with something, and this is his feeble attempt. Listen in.
And the fact of the matter is,
lies.
This is a former president and a son that, number one, came extremely close to losing his life and losing his father, okay? He's been called a threat to democracy from the very beginning. They got rid of a sitting president to fulfill their message that he's a threat to democracy. And in order to save this country, they had a sitting president step down, put in a vice president in the summer. This is how they feel about it, and this is how everyone on the Democratic Party feels about it.
I don't know if he tried to follow the argument, but it really does make no sense whatsoever. He tries to say that in order for the Democratic Party to fulfill their quote unquote violent rhetoric, they deposed Joe Biden. In other words, saying that Joe Biden is no longer running for president, Kamala Harris is, and that is emblematic of the fact, or this is the plan that the Democrats had to continue to extend on the violent rhetoric. It makes absolutely no sense, and I feel dumber for even trying to break it down for you. But the fact of the matter is that Reince Priebus is, perhaps he's a good liar in his real life, but on national television, when he's confronted with the truth, his brain absolutely shuts down. He can't make an argument here that will stick. And so he's comparing apples to oranges in order to stop Donna Brazile from her prolific rant. She is making an excellent point, and he cannot concede it, nor could he sit there and continue to listen to it because he knew that he was going to get a phone call from Donald Trump.
So don't sit here and act like holier than thou.
I'm not holy, baby.
That
I'm telling
somehow
you the truth.
you have a corner on this message because you don't.
And you don't.
And that's why you're not winning. That's why Harris is behind, and that's why she's going to lose. People aren't buying the rhetoric.
She's not behind.
People are not buying the rhetoric.
We're not buying the lies.
Why can't you simply say that blaming Democrats for the association?
I would not blame Democrats.
Just say it's wrong.
I just said it, okay? But it's also wrong to paint the president of the United States, President Trump, as the threat to democracy that's going to end the United States of America. What does that do to people's heads when you do that? What does that do to millions, hundreds of millions of people in America?
This is a trick that the Republicans do so well. Unless and even if Donald Trump expressly says something out of his mouth, which he absolutely has said several times, that he plans to be dictator on day one. But unless he expressly says it, or even if he does say it, Republicans will deny it. They will deny the truth until Donald Trump is in power and does exactly what he says he is going to do. It is absolutely irresponsible. I've said on this channel many times, it is absolutely irresponsible for us not to take Donald Trump at his word. It is irresponsible for us to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. We see Project 2025. We hear the words that are coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. We hear the words that are coming out of his supporters' mouth, very clearly and very expressly saying that they're done with the Constitution. Democracy is no good for them anymore. They have every intention of fundamentally transforming this nation to something we've never seen before. That is the plan. And imagine having to go on television and deny that when you know, Reince Priebus, that's the plan. You know that is Donald Trump's intention. You know that is what is behind all of the secret meetings that MAGA is having behind the scenes. You know that is the core of Project 2025. And I hope that most Americans can realize it now, that we're not playing with a normal party here. This is not an election with a normal party. This is a party that is absolutely committed to destroying democracy because democracy is an impediment for them. Democracy is too difficult for them. They understand that the trends in the United States of America leans away from them. Instead of them evolving and becoming more tolerant and working with more diverse people, and instead of them being willing to have a peaceful transfer of power, they've said, forget about it. Let's just destroy democracy altogether. Let's revoke the 19th Amendment, which is what is being pushed by so many people in the Republican Party because they fear the vote of women. This is what we're dealing with. And whether Reince Priebus can admit it or not, that doesn't change the fact that we have heard the words out of Donald Trump's mouth for ourselves. And we know exactly what he's planning to do. And we're not going to sit idly by and let him get away with it. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe to this channel, Really American, where we're doing everything in our power to push back against this MAGA takeover of the United States of America.
What does that do to legal immigrants?
Guys,
what does it do to legal immigrants when you know you're lying? What does it do to kids who are trying to go to school?
The President of the United States practically getting killed.
And we all condemn that.
You're hitting 20 different topics.
The Democrats condemn that. But the lies, the floodgate of lies must stop.
What lies? Like that